For the graphing solution for this problem, we can think of it as two ways. So we can think of this as solving for making this equal to 0 and solving for the roots. So I can graph this function. So I make it greater than or equal to 0, make this a y equals equation, which I've done below, and I'm looking for the parts that are bigger than 0, so this portion here, this portion here, and this portion here. So the solution on the number line is between negative root 2 to positive root 2, and then this would represent negative root 6 and less than negative root 6, and then this would be positive root 6, and we're looking for the parts that are greater than positive root 6. We could also think of this as an intersection of two graphs. So y is equal to the absolute value graph, and y is equal to 2, and we're looking for these points here. Okay, and we're looking for where the absolute value portion of the graph is above the x-axis, so that, or above the value of 2, so that would be, again, the same regions here and the same boundaries exist. So that's one way we can do it. We could also graph this ourselves, and if we were to graph this, we can graph this as a piecewise function. And as a piecewise function, we have to observe the domain. So we're going to observe the domain of x is greater than 2 and less than negative 2, and we're going to graph, firstly, the positive domain, which is going to be x squared minus 6. So it's a parabola facing upward with a y-intercept of negative 6. And that would entail this graph here. If we just continue, we have this graph here, and if we continue this, we're going to end up with this parabola. Okay, and observing the boundaries, the domain boundaries, this dotted portion here would be the portion that is not included in the graph. So for the negative portion, we're going to look at this graph here, which I'm going to highlight. This would be represent the negative domain between negative 2 and 2, and it's an upside down parabola with y-intercept of positive 2. And so it's going to be this parabola here, and observing the domain, it's only going to be the portion between negative root 2 or negative 2 and positive 2, and then it's going to continue down like that. And again, once we graph this as a piecewise function, we can see the zeros of the piecewise function occur at root 6, negative root 6, negative root 2, positive root 2, positive root 6. And we can think of this problem, the solution to this problem, from the graph of this function.